Two phones, two big questions. What's different and how much better is the Pro? Because for the first time ever, the Poco X7 series draws a clear line between these two variants. Now, firstly, in the box, both comes with a black TPU case. Now, I do appreciate this tiny detail because a lot of phones within this segment typically just gives a clear phone case. Next, other than the USB-A to USB-C cables, the Poco X7 comes with a 45-watt charging brick instead of a 90-watt charger for the Poco X7 Pro. So that is like comparing a bicycle to a Ferrari because both will get you there, but one is clearly faster. But hey, at least both comes with a charger, right? Now, design-wise, compared to last year's X6 series, you can immediately tell the Pro and the non-Pro apart. The silver variant of the Poco X7 has a silver sheen to the finish. It's a matte finish, so you won't get any unwanted fingerprints on this particular finish over here. And for some strange reason, this reminds me of Marvel's Silver Samurai. You know, the villain from Wolverine comics. Or even the movies.
I will destroy you, Gaijin!
Then there are 4 camera bumps arranged right in the middle. Now the reason why I said camera, because the camera array or the bumps represents something else instead of a camera. More on that later. Where the overall build of this phone was curved, very similar to last year's X6. But what's not similar to last year's X6 is the fact that the phone does not have a headphones jack this year. So rest in peace, headphones jack. Then the Poco X7 Pro was a whole different story this year because not only does it look totally like it's not from the same X7 series, it has a more boxy type of design, and my first impressions of holding this phone that it was definitely more thicker. But it was also heavier than the Poco X7. However, the clear difference is also from the finish, where this X7 Pro had a vegan leather at the back. And there's a two-tone black and yellow color variant that I went with since I never owned a yellow color Poco phone before. There's also a tiny metallic yellow ring around the camera arrays. And it was also present at the power button too, which was a really nice touch. Now, speaking of the camera arrays, yes, Poco started with its peculiar decisions of having 2 camera arrays on the Pro variant instead of 4 on this non-Pro variant. So yes, we'll talk about the camera specs soon, but overall, the Poco X7 Pro's design is hands down the best design to start the year 2025, so Happy New Year, here is a good design. So for the first time ever, you can finally tell a huge difference from far. You know, when you're looking at someone from afar using both phones, you know that this is the non-Pro and this is the Pro. However, there's also the IR blaster on both and a same IP68 protection, which is a clear update from last year's IP54 rating. Now, as for performance, the X7 comes with the Dimensity 7300 Ultra chipset, which is a solid chipset for handling everyday tasks, gaming and even multitasking pretty well. It also comes with the LPDDR4X RAM and UFS version 2.2 storage, which for today's standards, that's quite underwhelming, to be honest. Especially if you're a power user, but for casual users or even casual gaming, this setup is more than enough, performing the best on Genshin Impact in this setting shown on the screen. Then the Poco X7 Pro has a better Dimensity 8400 Ultra chipset, which is built on the same 4nm process but features an all-big core design clocked up to 3.25 GHz, and then pair that with the LPDDR5X RAM and the UFS version 4.0 storage. This phone feels lightning fast, where this was very apparent in Genshin Impact at very high settings as shown in the screen. So yes, the Poco X7 Pro not only feels like you're using a 2025 phone from a design standpoint, but also from a power user standpoint as well. Next, as for the displays, both phones share a 6.67-inch Crystal-Res 1.5K resolution AMOLED display with a 120Hz refresh rate and an instant touch sampling rate of 2560 Hz, which is quite high. But the X7 Pro slightly has a better peak brightness of 3200 nits compared to the X7's 3000 nits. Now, since we're talking about a minor difference in specs, so you can expect the brightness level to perform about the same in a brighter environment or even outdoors. Both has the same playback specification on Netflix, which is Widevine L1, together with HDR10 and Dolby Vision support as well. So it's not only really great for watching movies, but of course just using the phone daily. But this X7 Pro felt nicer to use daily due to the flatter screen display, where the gestures navigation felt even better too. Then as for the screen's durability, Poco continued its weird decision streak by giving a better Corning Gorilla Glass Victus 2 protection for this X7 and only giving the Corning Gorilla Glass 7i on this particular Pro variant. Now this is usually used for mid-range phones, which is durable but not as great of a protection of the Victus 2 protection. Then as for software, as of the recording of this video, the Poco X7 is at HyperOS version 1.0.4.0, but this Poco X7 Pro is at HyperOS version 2.0.5.0 and is based on Android 15 compared to the X7 which is based on Android 14. And because of that, there's even some Gen AI features like the AI Erase Pro to remove unwanted people or objects in your photo, or the AI Image Expansion to expand your photo, especially if it's out of frame, accordingly, which is available on the Poco X7 Pro instead of the Poco X7. So yes, this Poco X7 Pro will give you a better overall software experience. Then as for cameras, both phones shares the same 50 megapixel main Sony IMX882 sensor with OIS, with the same 8 megapixel ultra-wide lens. Now remember the extra lenses at the back? Well, those extra ones is a dedicated macro camera and a flash. Yeah. They decided to have all of these 2 more extra camera bumps just to fit that in, compared to seamlessly including the flash in the body like how they did on this Pro variant. So don't think that you're missing anything on this Pro variant unless you really need a dedicated macro lens. So, do you? Let me know in the comment section below. Now Xiaomi claims there is a better image processing on the X7 Pro, and based on this sample shot side by side, I do see some difference, as you guys can clearly see. Now the Poco X7's rear cameras record up to 4K 30fps, but the X7 Pro goes up to 4K 60fps. But what's even weirder is the fact that the front camera of this Poco X7 goes up to 1080p 60fps compared to the Pro, which goes up to 1080p only up to 30fps. Weird but true. Now stay tuned for my in-depth camera review of this, so do subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't done so. And by the way, we are on the way towards 200,000 subscribers, so thank you very much in advance and appreciate all the support for those of you who have already subscribed to the channel. Next, let's talk about the battery and charging. The X7 has a 5110 milliamps of battery with 45 watt charging, which is quite solid, but as seen in the unboxing, not only the X7 Pro has support for 90 watts of hypercharge, but it also comes with a larger 6000 milliamps of battery. Now I'm planning on testing the battery on this phone further, so do subscribe to the channel and stay tuned once again. However, if you want a written review of everything mentioned in this particular video and all of our videos, we do have one at our website at www.adamlobo.tv. Links to that will be down below. So as of the recording of this video, the official price of these two phones is not being announced yet, where I'll leave the info at the pinned comment below as soon as I get it. But based on everything mentioned, if you're someone who wants a great all-around phone and potentially not breaking the bank, then maybe this Poco X7 should be your choice. But if you're a power user that needs the extra boost of battery and charging performance, especially gaming performance, and if you want a more premium look and feel smartphone, then the X7 Pro should be your choice. But we must first know how much of a price difference between these two are in order to decide, right? Meanwhile, here's a video of last year's X6 series over here.